Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I am Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. We are looking at the Tuesday slate here for DraftKings and FanDuel, looking at pitching. It's Monday night. We're just pulling the late night action right now, you and I, looking ahead, getting it out early for the people.
I'm going to make a CBS early 2000s, late 90s reference right now. Jason, I am touched by an angel. I am an angel sent by God. Please let me help you. Do you remember that show?
Yeah, I mean, you're a few years older than I am, but yes, I do remember that.
Okay, good. Yes. And then the bright lights would come. That's me right now. Yes. Yes, we are bringing you winning lineups.
You know, I feel like you're in like a ghost hunter's show. Like, it's kind of like you got the eerie lamp back there, one light's turned on.
You got a dog licking his leg in the corner.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into things. And Mets Pirates, it's a 15-game slate here. In PNC Park, we got Jacob deGrom, Juan Nicasio. Over under a 7.5. Mets are -130 favorites. deGrom, one of the notable names on this slate, hasn't been pitching great. He's been pitching well of late, but not like his usual self.
Not deGrom worthy,
Yeah, I mean, he's been starting to turn it around. I mean, his last two starts have been solid. But you look at this Pittsburgh team, I mean, a little banged up. The price tag of $9,500 on DraftKings isn't too bad. $9,800 on FanDuel. I mean, you can make a case for him here tonight. I think there is a reasonable reason to like him just because the Pirates are sort of banged up right now and have kind of been slumping a little bit of late.
Yeah, the only thing I think you really worry about here is maybe Gregory Polanco. He's kind of like been a non-story for the Pirates of late because of all the lefties they've been facing. So he's either been like out of the lineup or batting eighth. But I mean, obviously against righties, he's been awesome this year and he's a good player. So he's back hitting up there, we think. And if he is, then I think he's a legitimate option. But like you mentioned, I think deGrom, his strikeouts have been up each of the last three starts. You're starting to see a lot of things turn around for him. So I think things are getting better, but obviously not a lock, not necessarily a cash game guy by any means.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you look at the Mets lineup. This lineup is atrocious right now with Cespedes possibly being out, Wright's out. So it's kind of like, hey, let's, the run support and the win might not necessarily be there.
Right.
If deGrom goes into the seventh and maybe gives up 3 earned or something like that, where at this price tag, I mean, before he's been, usually higher. So you can afford a little leeway as far as giving up a run or two, but I think he's got to be perfect to kind of pick up that win there.
So in that same vein, Nicasio facing a weak lineup right now, but in terms of what he's done this year, you're looking at least 2 to 3 runs allowed by him, nothing more than 8 strikeouts, mostly around 4 to 6. So is that okay for a 15-game slate? I don't think that's going to be enough for him. So I don't think he's really an option either.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the win is less likely on his side, I think, and you kind of look and he kind of needs that just because he hasn't given you that high strikeout performance. I mean, really outside that Cincinnati game, he hasn't been that great. But one thing, I mean, he's been better off at home. I mean, as many pitchers are in PNC. I mean, 3.49 ERA there. I mean, he's averaging about 11 more DK points. And on FanDuel, he's not really an option. But I think DK, I mean, SP2-wise, I don't mind him in GPPs. Especially with this Mets lineup that's just bad. I mean, they're bad right now.
Yeah, they have decent players, but they're just not hitting right now. So, yeah, I'm probably mostly avoiding. But again, if you feel confident in attacking this Mets lineup right now, I guess that's a different way to look at it,
Yeah, I think so too. Look at the Royals and Orioles game here next. Yordan Ventura, Ubaldo Jimenez. Over-under of 9, Baltimore -112 favorites, and I think this is an easy stay-away situation on a 15-game slate.
Yep, not looking really strongly at either of these two. It's kind of a rough matchup for both sides, so I think we're avoiding. Obviously, you don't touch the Royals pretty much unless it's an ace because of that strikeout rate. both historically and this year. They're kind of spending that same trend. So, and you're definitely stacking Orioles. I mean, give it to me again. I'm in.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm doing the stacking article and I got the Baltimore bats. I mean, kind of locked and loaded. I mean, Ventura's he
Yeah.
struggled on the road and there's nothing that's really encouraging from him. I mean, his strikeout rate and swinging strike rate's way down this year, so I don't like him at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's just an easy avoid / target for the hitters.
Yeah. Angels and Yankees here, and Angels haven't rolled out a starter yet, but we know Michael Pineda is on the hill. And one thing I think on a 15-game slate, he's not really usable here. One, I mean, he's been hammered this season, and his strikeout rate can be up there, but you look at this Angels team, they don't strike out a lot, and they're moving up in the rankings as far as against right-handed pitching. The 14th in WOBA, but just a 15.7% strikeout rate. So it's kind of earlier in the season we could pick on the Angels a little bit, but that trend is gone away.
Yeah. And I mean, they got the superstar Gregorio Pettit at the bottom there, but other than that, no. Yeah, I think we like Trout tomorrow for sure. Cole Calhoun, he's really starting to pick it up here as well. So I think a stack is in order at some point. Not the strongest, but maybe a contrarian stack where it's a little lower owned across the board. So that's something to look at for sure. Maybe a mini one, Calhoun, Trout, Pujols, or something like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we don't know the Angels starter, but I mean, I can't imagine it being anyone worthy of a play in Yankee Stadium.
No.
Facing a couple of these lefties, so I think it's just on a 15-game slate. It's this game's another stay away.
Yep. That's that's my analysis. Yep.
Next one here, you got Cubs and Phillies. Kyle Hendricks versus Gerard Eichhoff. Over under of 8. Cubs once again big -235 favorites, and I don't like the price tag of Hendricks on DraftKings at 10-8. But you know what? You're looking at Greinke, who hasn't been good at home. You're looking at Sanchez against a tough Detroit team. You can make the case for Cole Hamels and Carrasco. So even with the price tag, I still think he's in play. I like him a lot more on FanDuel, where he's 8,500. And I think he is playable kind of in all formats.
Yeah, I like him. In terms of the price, obviously he's a little overvalued, but I know you like a lot of these guys from this Mets lineup. And they are sneaky, but I think in terms of this slate and just the way things are shaking out, he's a decent secondary option for sure.
Phillies? You mean the Phillies lineup?
What did I say?
Mets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Phillies, of course.
Yeah. No, I do like some of their bats, but yeah, I think I like picking with Hendricks a little bit more. I mean, you look at 2 starts ago, he won a complete game shutout, or sorry, not a shutout, allowed 1 earned, 1-7 Ks, picked up the win. So, he does have that upside. He threw well against the Dodgers. He's been starting to work deeper into games. And obviously that favorite, I mean, a win is pretty close to a lock with this Cubs team right now.
For sure.
So Eichhoff, on the other hand, he struggles too badly with lefties. I mean, against this Cubs team, there's just really no way of using pitchers against them that are at that tier.
Nope. And I mean, that's just pretty straightforward. You don't target the Cubs. So I definitely, Eichhoff's not a bad arm, but not someone you're using against the Cubs for sure.
Yeah. Blue Jays and Tigers here next. Another big over-under of 9. Toronto -125 favorites. Aaron Sanchez versus Matt Boyd. Aaron Sanchez, I mean, he's been pretty good this season. 10-5 on DraftKings. I mean, they're expecting kind of another big outing out of him. I'm not quite sure he can pay off that price tag against this Tigers team. I know he's tough on right-handers, but it just seems like this is a little too troublesome for him to get through at that price.
Yeah, he's more of a contrarian guy to me than a confident potential cash game guy. So I think you look at him again, kind of like Hendricks as a secondary option, but he's not really someone I'm looking at for a cash consideration type.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think when you have Cole Hamels, I like Kyle Hendricks. I think he is a tier 1 option on tonight's slate, just because he's 1,100 cheaper than Greinke, who hasn't really been that great at home, even though Greinke is in play. I kind of like Cole Hamels in the strikeout upside in that range. I like Carlos Carrasco as well. So Sanchez in that tier just kind of ranks 4th or 5th among those guys for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And on the other side, I mean, Matt Boyd, one, I just think look at this Blue Jays offense and starting to come around a little bit. On a 15-game slate, I just don't see any real risk to take with Boyd there.
Yeah, one of those top threes hitting a homer off him. I don't know which one, but that's pretty much a guarantee.
Oh, man.
I will go out on – that's the shortest limb I've gone out on all season.
Yeah, I mean, that's like going to the roulette table and just putting, money on both red and black, Russell.
Yeah.
Way to dive deep there.
I mean, that's –
someone on the Blue Jays is a double run today. I don't know who.
No, one of those top three, maybe two. It might be Encarnacion. But either way, I just don't think you can do it right now. They aren't as potent as the Cubs say, but they're not a team to target either.
Yeah. Next one here, you got the Cardinals and Reds. Mike Leake versus Jake Lamb there, and John Lamb, sorry. 9.5 over under. Seattle, sorry, I'm just botching this one. St. Louis -170, and this game, I mean, in Great American Ballpark, Mike Leake, contact pitcher. And you've talked about this before where the Reds have been in good spots against pitching and they deliver and they kind of chip away at you. And obviously in bad spots, you're completely a team to target. And I think that's the case here. I mean, Mike Leake, yes, he's starting to pitch better, but still a low strikeout rate, relies on contact, and I don't like that here in this ballpark.
Yeah, definitely not touching this one for Leake, and obviously not touching this one for Lamb either, with the Cardinals considered. But yeah, again, when the Reds are in good spots, they blow pitchers up. So he's not even really in tournament area for me because they're gonna get runs in some way, shape, or form. So I'm not really looking at him.
Yeah, I think on both sides here, this game could be one of the higher scoring games on the slate. And, looking at, Lamb on the other side, I think you can kind of stack Cardinals against him. And really, outside of that, in this ballpark, once again, it's tough to do. Their price tags really aren't worthy of even a tournament shot with the upside. I think they're kind of better guys that you pay up for a little bit more, that you feel kind of more comfortable with. And moving on to the next one here, Astros and Rangers. I think this is kind of another one where Cole Hamels is in play. Hamels has pitched really well against the Astros this season. And Russell's back in action. And we're talking about Astros and Rangers to kind of fill you in from your quick disappearance.
Yes, a mysterious disappearance because of my internet connection with a certain browser that I won't bring up right now. But things should be better now.
All right. So talking Cole Hamels here, I think he's a solid play. One, this is going to be the third time he's faced Houston, so take that for what it's worth. But also, he's pitched really well against Houston. 18 Ks in 2 starts, averaging 31 DK points. Yes, Houston has a ton of right-handed bats, but you look at Hamels, one of the better strikeout rates on the slate. And you look at Keuchel, who's been awful against Texas, the complete opposite. I'm surprised they're not heavier favorites. So I feel Hamels is kind of a decent option up top.
Yeah, I'm definitely with that. And saying anything beyond Cole or Dallas Keuchel has been awful. Like, you were nice to continue on with that sentence because he's just been awful. But yeah, I like Hamels. When you get a decent matchup against these top three, which I think he does have a decent matchup against those, then the strikeouts just come rolling in for that Astros team. So the strikeout potential's there. Hamels is a solid arm. I think we're looking at a strong outing from him.
Definitely. And in the past, we've been like Keuchel's price. He's 5,800, and we've been kind of enticed with it. I'm not going to lie, it does intrigue me at times. No, tonight I'm finally done with that. He's allowed 13 earned runs in 2 starts against Texas this season. Been awful in this ballpark. So in the past, I think it's an easy fade, even at the price tag.
Unfortunately, because obviously he's a talented arm, but it's just not. He can't find his stuff right now, it seems. So things just aren't working. I'd wait for things to figure itself out before we roster him again. Yeah,
definitely. Moving on to the next game here, you got the Nationals and White Sox. Joe Ross versus Matt Latos. Over-under of 9 in U.S. Cellular. Washington -133 favorites. Joe Ross has me intrigued at the price tag, 8,400 on FanDuel, and you're looking at 9,700 on DK here. And this White Sox team, I mean, they're not a great offense. I mean, especially over the last 2 weeks, 29th in WOBA, 23% strikeout rate. That's pretty close to 24. A 9, I think, is just a little too – I think it's kind of overbearing. I think people might overlook Ross. I mean, not a cash game arm, though. I think GPP-wise, he does have some upside.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. I like Ross. Latos isn't going to put up much resistance against this Nationals lineup. Nationals minus 138 favorites. I mean, I just think a lot of things are pointing his direction right now, so I'm definitely in on that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Ross, I mean, I'm going to take that over-under with a grain of salt and just kind of overlook it a little bit as far as the Joe Ross side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Next game here, you got the A's and Brewers. I mean, 2 bad arms on the hill. Sean Manaea versus Zach Davies. Over-under of 9 in that ballpark, and I'm loading up on some offense here on both sides. I think it's pretty friendly, so it's a no-go for me on pitching.
Yeah, unfortunate, but it's looking like we're avoiding this one. Just again, 2 weak arms. So for a 15-gamer, as we go through this, you'll kind of notice a lot of these guys aren't even tournament options. So it kind of makes it a little simpler for the player because you can just cross some of these games off. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's one guy who we'll get to here next. I mean, the next game, Marlins and Twins, Adam Conley versus Pat Dean there. Over-under of 9, another high over-under in Minnesota. Conley has been a frustrating guy to roster this season. One start he's on, even in good matchups, the next start he's off. I mean, you're looking at the Atlanta game as being a key example. You look before, I mean, Milwaukee, he struggled. So I think you can kind of look at him here as just a strictly GPP arm at this point. And, you know, you look at him, he does have a nice strikeout rate. I don't mind the matchup. I mean, the Twins ranked 25th in WOBA against lefties, 24.5% strikeout rate. So there is some upside here, but obviously the floor is very, very low.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love the upside though, and we've seen it hit 3 or 4 times out of like 10 starts here. But when it hits big, and when he's got control of a lineup, it's just all over. So I like it for that from that respect. But yeah, the Vegas is kind of weirding me out on him a little bit, having that over under that high, and the Twins projected for 4.5 runs. That's definitely worrisome a little bit. But when you just look at the splits themselves, pretty good matchup for Conley now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you look at some of those guys. I mean, Dozier hasn't really hit lefties that well this season. Miguel Sano's out of the lineup. So you're looking at 1 through 9. I mean, a relatively
weak.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not going to underestimate it because I can still see some of these bats getting to him. But it's also like, hey, he should get through this lineup pretty easily.
For sure.
So at the price tag, I definitely don't mind it. I mean, he's definitely worth a shot at just 7,600 on DK. And even 8,300, I think he's a single bullet fire on GPPs for FanDuel.
But like you mentioned,
the floor is
no cash. No cash.
No.
Like there's a reasonable range of outcomes where he's just negative, so and he pitches 3 innings. So
yeah, I mean it's like you get into an elevator at the 15th floor. Conley can go up to the 30th, or he's dropping you down to the lobby. It's
no, you're going past the lobby, like from those movies where you go straight to hell. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if there's a movie that actually did that, but I feel like that's happened in some cheesy 1990s horror flick at some point.
For sure. Like past the
morgue.
If there's
a movie that does that, throw it in the comments. But I'm pretty sure there is.
Yeah, there's got to be. Next game here, you got the Rays and Diamondbacks. Matt Moore versus Zach Greinke. Look at this lineup here for the Rays, and it's not that great against right-handed pitching, and I'm kind of I'm intrigued with Greinke. Even though he's at home, he hasn't been that great. You look at the Rays, I mean, a big strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, 25.5% this season. But you also look at Greinke and how bad he's been at home this year. And even though he threw, a decent start against San Diego at home, he was still at a high price tag where he didn't really pay it off. And I guess the more I'm looking at it, it wasn't that good. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Chase Field still is giving him issues, and I'm concerned.
Let's play a game real quick. Mickey or Mikey Matuk?
Mickey.
All
I'm
right.
calling him
Well, if
Mickey.
he's in the lineup, he's he's struck out at least once in 10 straight games. How many strikeouts does he get against Greinke?
Two.
Two? Okay.
If he's in the
That's
lineup,
fair.
there's two. Yeah.
The over under is 1.99. So
Okay.
you're going over?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
All
going
right.
over. Well,
I'm
because he
taking
can't get a
three.
half.
I'm taking three.
Ooh, man. Full
Yeah,
call.
it's gonna
But
be gonna be a rough one.
so that, I mean, the way we're talking, I mean, we expect Rinky to show some upside, but I think at the price, there's still a relatively low floor for that consideration. I mean, yes, he
Yes.
has, maybe 15 to 20 point potential, but I still want more for a guy I'm paying 12K for. I mean, that's the problem with Greinke at this point in the season. It's when he's on the road, I'm fine with playing him, but at home, even in good spots, it just seems not worth it.
Yeah, and Longoria's getting going. You don't really want to target the middle of that lineup. I understand that. But I think he has the upside. It's tough to debate who's really the cash option here, but I think he's in play for cash. Probably not. He's not a perfect option by any means, but I think he's in a decent spot here.
He is. I think I mean, I kind of don't mind him in cash, but I think Hendricks is still kind of the guy I prefer.
Okay.
And just in a better ballpark for 1,100 less, who I think really have a similar ceiling and floor in both their respective matchups.
Yeah, other than Albert Suarez, he's a lock in cash.
On the other side here, I am not taking Matt Moore against this right-handed heavy team in Chase Field. There, it's just far
R.I.P.
too much. Yeah, good luck, sir. I am stacking some D-backs there.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to get through that lineup for him. 1 through 5 is gonna be tough, but he has a good arm, but not today. Sorry, pal.
Yeah, definitely not. On to the later games here. You got the Indians and Mariners. Carlos Carrasco versus Wade Miley. Over-under of 8. Cleveland minus 125 favorites. Carrasco, a talented arm. Obviously banged up with that hamstring injury for most of the year so far, but solid track record. GPP only for me. I mean, there is some upside against the Seattle team. I mean, obviously when Carrasco's on, he's on. But you also got to look at the Seattle team. I mean, they're a top 5 team as far as offense goes this year, and the way they're swinging the bats right now, it kind of scares me. But I think Carrasco is kind of a reasonable GPP single bullet type guy for me tonight.
I think that's fair. I am intrigued by this matchup, but yeah, I think you stick to just tournaments here, obviously. But he's not as good as any of those other three we were just talking about in terms of cash, but does have upside, does have strikeout upside, and it's just tough against this Mariner squad.
Yeah, and I think you're going to definitely catch him in some low ownership, but I do think there is some upside here with him. Especially in this ballpark. I mean, it's been relatively high scoring as far as over unders goes so far. I mean, with last night and on the other side, I mean, Cleveland should give him some run support with Wade Miley on the hill.
For sure.
So, and with that being said, I mean, not really on Wade Miley.
No, you could say that. Yeah. Sorry, pal.
Yeah. Rockies, Dodgers, next one here. Yeah, Julio Urias here, and Eddie Butler, 8.5 over under. Big one for a late game, and Dodgers minus 140 favorites. And I just think Urias hasn't really got it together. Eddie Butler's bad. This game could be a fun one to target late in the night. Some late night action. After hours at Dodger Stadium, some sexy bats going off.
Ooh. I might throw a jab at Urias here. I might throw a jab or two. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm saying I might do it. I think in terms of upside, we know sort of he's got the stuff, but just can he figure it out? So I think he's going to be low owned at this point, just based on the first two. I might throw one out there, but yeah, this could be ugly. So yeah,
what the hell?
Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I had the heart to start some of those pitchers the other day at like 5,300, and I
We
forget
were
what
forced
slate
to,
it
my
was.
friend.
Yeah, the 6 gamer. Yeah. That was wild. But this is a little different, but I do think he has upside and the highest upside of any of the really low options. So I might throw a tournament flyer out at him.
I agree. I mean, you look at the Mets. I mean, anyone's going to be rocky in their first start usually. I mean, that's going to be tough. And then you look at the Cubs. I mean, how many pitchers have actually gone up and dominated Cubs this season? It's tough to
Yeah.
do. So you get home. I
Rockies
mean,
on the road, you know,
yeah,
maybe he's
it's
got
not
something
bad.
going.
You know what? I
Yeah.
think it's a bold call, Russell. And you know what? Cheers to you, my friend, because that could work out.
Hmm. Yes.
Next one here, Braves and Padres, over under of 8 for two of the worst offenses in the league. Aaron Blair versus Colin Rea, and San Diego minus 145 favorites. And this one just, I'm actually looking at hitters from this game. I really think you can find some value. So with that being said, I think as low as they are as price, it's just, there's no upside or any reason to kind of roll with these guys.
I I'm learning the finer points of the Padres right now during the streak because I never really paid attention to them the first part of the year just because you just generally skip over them or target with the pitcher. But you know what? They're kind of fun. They're kind of fun. A little fun. Definitely more fun than the Braves, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but they got some nice pieces here. I mean, Will Myers, he's been kind of up there, but he's been doing well. Solarte, so not touching Blair. Again, Ray is in that same Urias thing where it's like, all right, same range. It's the Braves, maybe.
The Braves don't strike out quite as much, as is why I would be off of him as far as
Yeah.
in a comparison. And there's a lot of lefties in that team that could knock him around just a little bit.
Right.
So last game of the night here, you got Boston on the road here out there in AT&T Park against the Giants. Rick Porcello versus Suarez, over under of 8. Boston minus 116 favorites, and usually we're prepared to name a couple of pitchers to use in the late slates because it's always relatively low scoring. But here we are, 8.5, 8 as far as over unders go. So it's not like pitching's favorable out in the West Coast right now.
Yeah. Porcello, he's been getting crushed by some good offenses, but I also like the Giants aren't bad and they can chip away at you. And if you watch that Blue Jays game, they just kind of chipped away, and then it was all over. So I have a feeling something like that could happen again. He can't be trusted right now, and obviously you're not starting anyone against the Red Sox.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think this is just kind of a stay away, and I think you can actually look for some cheap offense. Well, maybe not necessarily cheap, but some offense to be lower owned out here on the West. Last game of the night in a pretty good pitcher's park, and I think you can kind of look and maybe Ortiz kind of hits one into the bay there.
Yeah.
Call my shot, splash zone.
Oh, I like it.
That's going to wrap things up here for the pitcher nail down. Be sure to check out the fantasycafe.com for all great tools and content.